Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to CAMSC's first Supplier Knowledge Exchange event of 2021. CAMSC is committed to support its members by keeping them informed of key initiatives to drive economic growth. And we do that by bringing them experts in their field to build skills to support business development. Today, we're joined by TECHNATION's SVP of Government Relations and Policy, Michelle Lajeunesse. Michelle will provide details of their Innovation Adoption Program proposal that leverages one of the most economic levers that the government has, its purchasing power to drive Canada's economic recovery. She will also give an overview on TECHNATION's collaborative pilot with Shared Services Canada on agile procurement. Finally, Michelle will highlight objectives of the new Scale Up initiative that will leverage Canada's digital marketplace. Michelle, over to you.
Thank you very much, Christina. Really appreciate it. Thank you for that kind introduction. And I want to thank you and I want to thank Cassandra Dorrington and your team for having me here today and having TECHNATION present to your members regarding our various programs that are underway right now to support small and medium-sized enterprises. So with that, I'd just like to say, I hope everyone today, I find you well and you're managing through this wonderful world of our next normal. And so I hope today to impart some good intel for you. And obviously, Christina and gang will also manage some questions and answers that we'll handle at the end. So with that, I'd just like to get into, so today I'd like to present, I was gonna say, oh, hold on a second. I am screen sharing, but. So first and foremost, just want to give an agenda. So want to provide a little bit of a background on TECHNATION, what we do. As Christina said, talk about the Innovation Adoption Program. Talk about Canada's digital marketplace in line with our agile procurement pilot that we're doing with Shared Services Canada. And then yes, give a little bit of intel about the Scale Up initiative and then open the floor to questions and answers. So just to give you a little bit about TECHNATION, we've been in business for 60 years. We're a not-for-profit, actually over 60 years, representing the ICT or the tech industry. We have large members and small members, so representing the big multinationals like Microsoft, IBM, AWS, and also small, medium-sized businesses, many of which are homegrown here in Canada, which is great news. But we also, represent really the tech industry en masse, and it's not a small industry, and it's actually been probably the greatest industry to help with economic recovery during COVID, to respond to what has happened during COVID. And will also be the industry, as we profess, to get us back on our feet, especially in terms of job creation and what we need to do in order to, I would argue, respond to a crisis in the future similar to what we've run into with COVID. So we have 5 strategic priorities that we focus on. I lead the first, which is really around government relations and policy, or what we would call really around government transformation. A lot of what we do is around advocacy with the federal government, provincial governments, and municipal on behalf of our members, as well as also dealing with things like policy. So if we talk about C11 and the whole changes to PIPEDA, we talk about other privacy legislations like Bill 64 in Quebec, privacy consultations with the Ontario government. We do a lot of that with on behalf of our members. My colleague Denise Short leads industry prosperity and growth. So that really is around industry engagement, again, for small, medium-sized enterprises and large, as well as she also leads our diversity and inclusion business. So it's another part of our business as well. Future workforce development is currently run by my colleague Randy Purse. Randy's actually taken a bit of a back seat. So his team is leading that. And future workforce development is really about, we've gotten a lot of funding, over $30 million worth of funding from Employment and Social Development Canada to run programs around getting interns into the workforce. So it's a great program that does help up and coming and recently graduated students. get into the workforce, and obviously support our tech sector. We have a health division as well, run by my colleague Elaine. And again, you know, a lot of that is health tech, obviously, been very much at the forefront during COVID. And but it's typically our members and then a division within our members that work with the health, and there is a health council as well. And then finally, Tech for Canada. We have a council that we've struck, and Tech for Canada was actually originally called Responsible Tech. And there, what we're really trying to focus on is tech adoption by non-tech SMEs. So, you know, tech adoption is so important, including cyber resilience, cybersecurity within our non-technical SMEs and our tech SMEs as well. But we're seeing that we really need to help promote tech adoption within those small, medium-sized enterprises to help them scale to high growth. So that's the focus of Tech for Canada. And within each of these 5 priorities, we have a number of councils, committees, working groups, initiatives underway. So lots that I know Christina and group can share following today's. But really what we're trying to do is influence Canada's future, working on our members and your behalf. I think what's really important, you know, my boss is Angela Mondu. She's our president and CEO for TECHNATION. She's been in the role almost 2 years now, and she has really taken us from, you might have recalled the IT Association for Canada, ITAC. We are the old ITAC, branded now as TECHNATION. And I think one of the big things that we've been really focusing on behalf of our tech industry is the fact that we don't have an innovation problem, we have an innovation adoption problem. And we see it time and time again where we see jurisdictions. In fact, I was just on a call with a member today about cloud and the fact that the federal government has, you know, chosen to and has established a cloud framework agreement, they call it. It's a competitive vehicle. But the unfortunate thing is there's a vehicle and then there's the concept, and then how do you actually get those jurisdictions adopting and actually implementing those enabling technologies? So we do a lot of work for that from that standpoint. And I would argue, you know, it really does help. Like if you look at the numbers, we have really come down in the numbers. I think we're ranked number 21 globally in terms of innovation as a country. We used to be near the top. And so, you know, ourselves, CAMSC, we all play a role in this ecosystem to help get us back up on that innovation scale and really start to adopt truly enabling technology. Definitely is our ultimate goal to collaborate between government and industry to drive that change and accelerate national digital transformation. Some would argue that COVID has done something, you know, a little bit to push that digital transformation. The unfortunate thing is when you're in a crisis, you don't necessarily do it the best way, you do it the most effective way. And so we've seen, yes, definitely adoption of tech. We haven't necessarily seen it from the small, medium-sized enterprises like we would like to see, where we start to see those innovative solutions. So, you know, I think we still have a long ways to go. We have some lessons to be learned from the COVID pandemic and the response. But I would argue that we also still have a lot of room for improvement in that. So I just want to turn now to our innovation adoption program. And I think we're going to hold questions till the end. So unless Christina gives me a nod otherwise. So I'll just keep moving along, and by all means, feel free, so you don't forget your question, to put it in the chat, and I can address it when we get to Q&A. So when you take a look at the challenge that we've been facing with big biz, but most importantly with our small, medium-sized enterprises and scale-ups in this country, there's been a lack of inclusivity and ability for SMEs to bid on procurements, especially when we get into the large, big federal and provincial bids. So we developed what we call the Innovation Adoption Program, really, which is a proposal for Canada's economic recovery. And the idea behind the Innovation Adoption Program, which really is obviously very amenable to politicians, is it's cost neutral. So it's a program that would leverage, as Christina said, one of the most powerful economic levers that the government has, its purchasing power, to drive economic recovery for Canada's small and medium-sized enterprises, and implement what we call virtual shovel-ready projects, and really transform the way that government serves its citizens. So the idea here is really leveraging, when we talk about its purchasing power, the government of Canada, the federal government alone, spends $22 billion on purchasing goods, services, and construction, and then other things in construction per year. In IT alone, they spend $6.8 billion in tech. So what we're proposing here, and I'll speak to it in the next slide a little bit, is really something that the government does not have to look for money to do. They take the existing money that they're spending and spend it in a better and more efficient way and a more inclusive way. So we've had conversations. So really what we're saying is, as I said, procurement is one of the biggest and most underrated economic levers, and the government must leverage its purchasing power to drive Canada's economic recovery. Federal purchasing, as I said, was estimated about $23 billion in 2017. I think the number this year was $22 billion. So it's a powerful buyer, the federal government alone. I'm not even talking about provincial and municipal, but it also has the ability to either launch, grow, salvage businesses or cripple businesses if it doesn't spend appropriately. Our most promising technology SMEs and scale-ups, those of you that are on the phone today, don't bid for the more than $6.8 billion just on technology projects because the procurement processes are too long, they're costly, they're complex, and they're onerous. And that's even for large multinationals who spend hundreds of thousands of dollars responding to contracts or solicitations, and in many cases, not even winning those bids. So I've included the link. So when you get the slide, you'll be able to access our actual innovation adoption program. But it addresses this challenge, and it's been addressed to the ministers of the Crown, so a federal government, our opposition parties over the past few months. So we've brought this forward to Minister Murray, who leads digital government. So she's the Minister for Digital Government. She leads both Shared Services Canada and Treasury Board Secretariat at the federal level. We brought it forward to Minister Anand, who is the Minister for Public Services and Procurement Canada, the largest procurement arm of the federal government. We've brought it forward as well to, at the time, Minister Baines, who was with Industry, or ISED, who's since stepped down. So we've brought it now forward to who stepped in as Minister Champagne, and also to Minister Freeland, who is the minister that is responsible for finance. And finally, Minister Ng, who's responsible for small business within ISED. We've had good reception. Our latest discussion with Minister Murray, we asked that she bring this forward to the Prime Minister and to Minister Freeland for inclusion in the spring budget, which we expect at the end of March. So we are having a meeting next week to see where things stand on that, but we have continued through our promotions, our media, et cetera. We continue to push the innovation adoption program. The details behind it are all within the document, so I'm not going to get into too much detail on that today. But what I did want to share with you is, an interesting point that came to our light is that it's estimated that for every 1% increase in digital adoption, that could have a direct $2.5 billion impact on the economy. So we have a long way to go. We have an opportunity here. The politicians have an opportunity to really move the needle. As I said, I think we've really, come a long way from where we used to be. I can tell you, I was in the government in the 90s. I worked for Employment and Social Development Canada, which at that time was Employment and Immigration Canada. And we had nations coming to us for what we were doing around employment and immigration, or employment insurance. At the time, I think it was called unemployment insurance. I guess it was better to call it EI lately. And what we were doing, for example, was self-serve kiosks and as well as the job bank, some of you may have heard of. And again, we just slipped somewhere in our innovative capability as a nation. So, we really have that opportunity to climb and do that. So we started at the Innovation Adoption Program. And then as anybody who's an association, or if you're in a business, you want to make sure that you can demonstrate to these politicians how this can be done. So that's where we get into our next piece, which is really around our Canada's digital marketplace and our agile procurement pilot. So I'll try and start, and I'll try not to confuse you because it can be a little confusing as to what we're doing here. So I'll start with the Shared Services Canada pilot and then talk to the digital marketplace well, I'm going to talk to the digital marketplace, actually. I'll start there. So again, excuse me, on the left, this whole idea of government procurement as an economic lever. So we struck this agile procurement pilot with Shared Services Canada in May of 2020, and we actually started the pilot in June. We've been promoting challenge-based procurement. I call it that we're really disrupting government procurement in a good way with government, with you in the ecosystem, with our fellow associations like CAMSC. We also struck a SME government working group. We started to do a study with small, medium-sized enterprises. On the other side, we also look to our large members to help float small, medium-sized enterprises. So we have an event tomorrow, and it's around the digital marketplace. But again, it's going to showcase our national partners that I'll speak to in a second, who are really big biz, who are helping float. And float really meaning support small, medium-sized enterprises to high growth. So again, it's government and industry coming together to help drive our economic recovery, and a lot of that being through SMEs. The procurement strategy to the digital roadmap and the whole challenge and the opportunity, we looked at the fact that we as TECHNATION and a national IT association had the opportunity to do some national outreach. We built Canada's digital marketplace, which was really actually built back in March of 2020 in response to COVID. Because what we were seeing happening was large jurisdictions, Ontario, federal government, being bombarded by companies who had pivoted to start to deliver PPE and other products that would support COVID. So in doing so, we built this digital marketplace to allow companies who had those offerings to register on a free platform and allow just jurisdictions to be able to search on those PPE and other products and services being provided by Canadian businesses, many of whom are small, medium sized. We also started to do, looking at the dashboard, we looked at what else we could do with Canada's digital marketplace. So it's not only about your ability to showcase your company, but then it was also the ability for jurisdictions to search on innovative solutions. And then finally, what really came about of it was a B2B platform. So the ability for businesses to really find each other and possibly strike a joint venture to respond to government solicitations. So when we look at, this is really a picture of the digital marketplace. I'm going to actually show you some screen captures and talk to the digital marketplace in a few moments. I wanted to give you, though, a sense of what the digital marketplace has been able to do in, basically nine short months. The number 403 member companies is the number of companies that are currently registered on our free platform. That number started at 136 back in May of 2020. So we have grown significantly. We have also grown in terms of the distribution of those companies. Most of them started in Ontario. We now have a good distribution across the country. And we even have some representation in the United States of America because it's not limited to Canada only. We also, on the left-hand side, brought forward we now have 10 national partners. So these are partners, as I was talking about earlier, about big business. These are partners who've invested money in the digital marketplace because of their want to support this ecosystem and help develop small, medium-sized enterprises and get the government purchasing innovative solutions, not going to the same old, same old. So each of those sit on what we call our National Advisory Council, and they help us in terms of the direction of the digital marketplace. We also have 18 community outreach partners, of which CAMSC is one. And these are our association partners who have broad membership, representative, again, of the tech sector, all different, types of members and across the country. And this was really important too, in part for the pilot with Shared Services Canada, because they did not want to be showing favoritism to one association. So they know that we have representation of 18 partners right now. On the right-hand side is really the representation of our Shared Services Canada pilot. So we have weekly cadence calls with shared services. Again, this was really to develop the true collaboration approach for a public-private engagement. We also have been able to provide feedback. So we've held 8 feedback webinars so far on 4 pilot solicitations, where we've garnered input from our digital marketplace members, our TECHNATION members. And I should say, you don't need to be a TECHNATION member to be part of the digital marketplace. The 4 pilot solicitations have been very effective and successful. One of them right now is in the prototype stage, and there are 4 entities vying for those prototypes. Prototypes are each paid $25,000, or each of the consortiums, the companies are paid $25,000 to produce a prototype. And 3 of those are joint ventures that all include SMEs. And then the 4th entity is actually a small, medium-sized enterprise. So we've had a lot of great uptake in terms of getting this agile procurement pilot, which was really focused at moving the federal government's procurement away from the same old traditional large biz, same solutions, to looking at and finding those truly innovative solutions that are out there. I can tell you that there have been amazing aha moments on behalf of the Shared Services Canada and their what we call technical authorities, so their business lines. Most recently, they've put a solicitation out for digital display. And it may not sound that exciting, but the solutions they've been presented back, the possibilities around digital display and beyond that in terms of data collection and presentation of data to citizens, et cetera, has just been a great win-win. And that's really what we've been looking for. It's also allowed us to help. So when we talk about feedback, we've been able to shift timeframes, sometimes unrealistic timeframes, or pull timeframes up. We've also been able to get clarity and refinement, both for the government, but also for small, the constituents that are bidding on this, or sort of the firms that are bidding on these solicitations. And then finally, and most importantly, is inclusion and diversity. It really is that opportunity to make sure that we're seeing open, fair, and inclusive procurement. And that is where we started with Shared Services Canada. So just going to the next, this is actually the landing page on the digital marketplace. So the actual website is technationportal.ca. I'm not sure, Christina, I don't have the ability to do the chat right now without me probably buggering up my feed. So, but it is technationportal.ca, and it will bring you, yeah, sorry.
No, I said I'll message everybody.
Okay, thank you. So this is the landing page. You'll see that, we're really trying to promote. So at the top is really promoting our event, because we want to keep our members aware and access. We currently are making some enhancements to it's an ongoing enhancements to the platform. But really, again, it was really to partner with tech associations and companies across Canada, right, to provide a consolidated access point for those innovative solutions and allow a one-stop shop for jurisdictions looking for. The other was to really, obviously, to enable agile procurement, but also to drive business to business. So as you register on the database through the digital marketplace, you have that ability also for fellow members to do a search and see who's out there that might be doing big data, who's out there that might be doing artificial intelligence, et cetera, et cetera. So, so really you have 2 opportunities here. These are both active buttons on the website. So I'm looking to showcase my company. So if you're looking to register and get on the database, you would simply go in and you're going to register your company. Then you're going to fill out a number of fields. So the fields include the size of your company, They include the area that you're focused on. So is it health tech? Is it, automotive, et cetera? And then you have areas of specialization. And the areas of specialization, there's a long list. Again, they started off COVID facing. We've kept those, and then we've broadened them along to big data, artificial intelligence, et cetera. There's probably 33, 36 areas of specialization, and you can click on as many that apply to your company. And it's very important because when somebody goes in to look for an innovative tech solution, you want to have those areas of specialization that refer to your company's capabilities. So when you go, looking to showcase my company, it's a pretty simple, as I said, you go in, you register. Once you're registered, you're going to have the ability to then add information. The other areas that we've also added and continue to enhance, and I'll talk to it more during the Scale Up initiative, is you can self-identify as a minority-led organization, and you can also indicate what certifications you have, and that has come directly from CAMSC. We were able to work with Cassandra and team to get the proper certifications that small, medium-sized enterprises may have that would mean something to government jurisdictions when they're looking to procure and work with an innovative company. So I'm going to just show you, when you go to I'm looking for an innovative tech solution, what you're brought to. So when I say no major updates in progress, it's just because there are a few things. So right now, if I was to show you that right-hand corner, our number of companies was not reflected in this dashboard. So that's being fixed actually momentarily. It's going to be done. But that's what that shows in the top right corner. It basically shows that we have 403 companies that are represented across 82 cities, which you can see here across Canada. So now I'm a contract officer and I want to come in, or I'm just anybody actually, and I want to go in and I can search. So I can actually search, like I said, on big data. I could search on AI. I could put open data, et cetera. And if I want to, I can search if I think I know a company and I want to, look that company up, or if I want to look up a city. So you can do all these fields if you want to, or just one of the fields, and you'll see here, these are the company industries. So that's what I was talking about when it said, what industry do you represent? So are you health tech? Are you hardware? Are you software? Sorry, software. Oh, of course I went backwards. Clicked too hard. So that's the industries that you might fall in. Then the company specializations are all here. So they're listed from, as I said, SaaS, machine learning, Internet of Things. There's about 36 of them. And those are what really, when you're searching up here, you're searching not only an individual searching and would go to that, but they'll also find information, and I'm going to show it to you in a second. They're also going to find information specifically within the write-up that you've created for your company. So in this instance, I'm going to take Relia Technologies in Belleville. So if I was to highlight that currently, and the only reason I'm not doing a live demo, as I explained to Christina and Vandana, is my concern is if I do that, it never goes. There always something gets locked up. So I'm just going to give you screenshots, and you'll be able to go to technationportal.ca today or tomorrow and be able to register yourself or get familiar with the actual dashboard and the digital marketplace. So I'm going to click on Relia. What would happen is it would bring up information on the left, and then I would click on company for more details. And this is what it would then produce for me. So it's now going to bring up Relia Technologies. They have been able to input their website, their Twitter handle, their LinkedIn. They have their main contact. They can indicate their company size, the industry they're in, the company specializations. Then they can go up here, and in here, this is where you have the opportunity on the registration page to include all the information about your company that you want to. You can include solution videos, which we encourage, presentations. You can also include customer references. And then here you can include minority-led or minority-owned. And here they've indicated that they are a women-led business. They did not include any certifications, but they could. And these are all drop downs when you go into the actual dashboard. As we move into Scale Up, again, I'm going to talk to that shortly, but we are, as I said, like we continue to enhance the marketplace to, in response to the work that we're doing with the federal government, specifically with the Scale Up initiative, as well as feedback that we get from our digital marketplace members and others that may be looking to use. So we have had interest by actually big biz. So TELUS, Rogers, et cetera, that are members of ours have talked to us about using the actual marketplace, as has the Ontario government, the City of Toronto, and other jurisdictions. So it's not going to ever be limited to only federal procurement officers. It's open to anybody to find a solution, to find a company, to look for and target minority-led companies that should they wish to do so for procurement. So, and I think what's also great about this is it really is a great snapshot for a company. And, as we continue to evolve it, we will be making this even more dynamic. One of the things that we're adding as a feature is an updates page, which will be far more interactive in terms of once you're now a member, you can sign in and then you get this updates page to you as a member of upcoming solicitations. We'll be using it for the Scale Up initiative and much, much more. So again, we're looking to be a one-stop shop. We'll want to integrate it to a project called Canada Buys that's happening. And Canada Buys is really the whole idea of the government wants to move to a central portal for all of Canada. So it would mean, let's say BC, I don't know if you're aware of BC Marketplace, but they have also developed their own, but it's a digital marketplace internal to government. Then we would see then what the federal government wants to do is build this portal called Canada Buys that would link to all the different portals, but would also produce basically, one view to solicitations that are happening, and you would be able to filter that. We want to be integrated to that, not be part of it, but basically, I guess the word should be better interface to that. So lots and lots of great things on the go. And when you're a small, medium-sized enterprise, it's really hard to maneuver and understand. So we're trying to do that and help small, medium-sized enterprises and large biz, but mainly scale ups and small, medium-sized enterprises have one central focus to go. So right now, I just wanted to show you, we had back in November 19th, we launched our digital marketplace event. And we had, it was mainly focused business to government. So a lot of, we had a lot of government speakers. Tomorrow's event is more business to business, supporting our economic recovery. But tomorrow we'll have more small, medium-sized enterprises and large businesses, less government speakers. Government will be in attendance, but not speaking. So this November 19th event was very successful. And I just wanted to show you a very quick video, just so you can hear how government's changing its thinking around working with industry, the importance of our economic recovery being, supported by and growing our small and our SMEs and scale ups. So I'm just going to run that video right now if I can, and I'm hoping that the sound will come through because I know how to do it on Teams. I'm hoping it'll come through here. So just let me know, Christina, if you can hear it. Okay.
Sure.
I do need, first off, can I?
Good.
An unprecedented shift to remote work virtually overnight at the same time.
We've lost volume. Can't hear. Michelle, I don't think we can hear anything.
Oh, okay. I thought you gave me the thumbs up.
I did initially, and then it broke down.
Oh, okay. Okay. Let me just okay. I'll share it with you then.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that. It's too bad because it's great video, but I'll share it with you and let everybody watch it in their leisure. Yeah, that is always the unfortunate thing. As I said, one platform to the next, it's different on what you have to, the little button you have to move. So sorry that you couldn't hear that, but basically, you know, the gist of it is that government has recognized that working with industry, number one, is not risky. I've been around long enough to know that there's always been that concern that, oh my God, industries that they're only out to sell us their products. We're really seen as partners. And, you know, I know Cassandra and what she leads with the team here at CAMSC and what we do. I mean, Cassandra and I sit on various committees, you know, whereby we are working to help government come around on how to work with industry to help adopt technology, sorry. And so that's just really important. I just want to this is a really important point, and it really isn't about, I want to raise this testimonial that came from Guylaine Carrière, is my direct partner at Shared Services, or TECHNATION's direct partner. So she leads the Center for Expertise in Agile and Innovative Procurement. And this, I just say that it's not TECHNATION, it really is industry, is giving wings to the Center of Expertise. Before this collaboration, I felt I was advocating Agile in a desert. Thank you for inviting me to a great event and for giving a voice to those who try to walk the talk. And I think that's where I'm optimistic that things are finally changing. And believe me, again, for a kid who's been around the block long enough, and for you that's, have ever dealt with procurement in, any jurisdiction, it's not easy. And I think finally we're getting to the point where we understand that it doesn't have to be onerous and cumbersome. So let me just turn to, I talked about our event tomorrow. I'm not going to get into too much about it. I think the information has been shared, Christina, with your members. I just want to remind you, though, that there is a DM Partner 25, again, to give you a discount should you wish to attend tomorrow's event. Cassandra is sitting on a panel and speaking along with Ryerson University and Expert Development Canada, really talking about the tools that are out there and the funding, et cetera, for small businesses and scale ups. We have a panel focused on the Scale Up initiative as well, and lots of other great speakers, as well as Anne Vermont, who is with MedCat, or with the Ontario government. So I just wanted to give that shout out on the promo code for a reminder for everybody. So I know I don't want to run out of time here, so I'm close. So I'm going to talk about the Scale Up initiative. So the Scale Up initiative falls under the Shared Services Canada Agile Procurement Initiative. And it was, again, it was the idea of Guylaine Carrière to really focus on targeting super small and small enterprises, targeting underrepresented groups, including women-led vendors. So in the federal government, they talk about Indigenous businesses and underrepresented groups, and they have to be separate, but falling in our world, in the umbrella of underrepresented groups. And so they reached out to TECHNATION, as well as we also have a cross-functional team represented by the BC government, Elections Canada, Treasury Board Secretariat, and Public Services and Procurement Canada, along with SSC and TECHNATION. We're working on defining what underrepresented groups means, so that people know where they fall, understanding the digital marketplace so that we could look at how we could leverage the digital marketplace to serve this initiative, and then finding flexibility within the rules, which is really the most important. So finding flexibility in the rules is represented on the left. Please understand this is draft. I actually had a meeting today and I encouraged SSC not to get concerned about this, because I said what is exciting for industry and is exciting for small and medium size and super small and small enterprises. It's the fact that we're not talking about buying mops and brooms, which is typically what I see whenever they do a pilot for smaller companies or underrepresented groups. This is tech projects, upwards of, in 2 of the categories, limited tendering to upwards of 2 to 5 companies would be called on through the digital marketplace, upwards of $238,000 for goods and services. So this is the small peanuts that they're looking at. Now they're still working through all the mechanics within their own legalities, but this is the numbers that they're putting forward. So I just wanted to show you that because it's pretty exciting, you know, that they can target an underrepresented group. They can choose women-led, Black-led, Indigenous. They can go out through the digital marketplace, choose a company, you know, one company if they want that falls within what they're looking for, 25K, 40K for services, and then I'll you know, upwards of on open tendering all the way up to 238,000. You know, the whole idea here is to put in place contracts within 2 weeks. So I'm going to show you a little bit of a workflow on the next slide. Here's the idea, is really trying to break those darn barriers, go outside the box, stop thinking about procurement as a 200-page request for proposal. You spend hours and money and resources that really, when you're small and medium sized and you're scaling, you don't have the, you know, the ability to do so, nor do you want to be focusing on that. So really trying to get it down to a very nimble process. So I'm just really excited, you know, about where this can go. This is a bit of Guylain's view. So here's the idea. You could have a federal organization, you could have a provincial, you could have a municipal. They're always going to have their own specific solicitation standards, terms and conditions, and instructions. And they can have those. There are going to be links back to from the solicitation. What's exciting though is we're pushing to have one standard interactive bid form. So originally it's going to be in the form more of a document sent to you through our digital marketplace. Ultimately, Guylain really wants it to be on a phone where there's like 1, 2, 3 questions. You answer yes, no, you answer yes, I've had experience doing that. You answer yes, I meet, you know, a minority led. You press enter and boom, you're into now the solicitation process. And it really is them validating and then getting into prototype. Again, using the digital marketplace, they will have an enduring notice on what their national product is called, which is the buy and sell. And there you have it. So that really is, you know, it's scale up in a 2-minute overview, but Guylain is going to talk to it tomorrow at the event. We're going to be having more information coming out about it. And yeah, just something to keep your eyes on. And we will be looking for more people to get involved with it. So with that, right on target, I think I'm on to Q&A.
Michelle, that was such a passionate webinar. I could actually feel your energy coming through here.
I love it. Yeah.
You can tell. Thank you so much for that. And it's exciting that this disruption that we've had due to COVID has initiated so much of innovation in small to medium businesses. And you're right when you say, you know, we've gone into these innovations with a sense of urgency, and we may not have taken into consideration the impact or best practices to actually roll it out if we had the time and resources to do that. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. I have a question from someone here, and he says, how does someone start working with TECHNATION?
Okay, well, like I said, you don't have, it depends what you want to do. So if you just want to get registered on the digital marketplace, you can go do that, technationportal.ca. If you want to become a TECHNATION member, that's a different thing. So, you know, and in many cases, you know, I think it's best to get onto the digital marketplace, start participating in, you know, the digital marketplace gives you access to a lot of information. We share a lot of information with our digital marketplace members, as well as our TECHNATION members. But if you want to work, you know, more with, like, know more about what we're doing with TECHNATION, by all means, just reach out to me. I can put you in touch. I can also get you to attend. We have what we call public sector business committee meetings. They're focused more on, we have an Ontario one and we have a federal one. But yeah, I think the best place is just start with the digital marketplace, and then you're going to start to hear a lot about what we're doing and have that opportunity to participate in that. So I hope that answers that. But I'm, like I said, I'm very, you know, open and available should you wish to reach out to me for sure, and I can help you from there.
So you mentioned that there was a paid service, or you just register. Can you explain the difference?
Yeah, no, there's no paid service. I might have mixed it up by saying that there were national partners who had, so I guess paid service. Maybe I mixed up. So digital marketplace is free.
Okay.
You can go on there, you can register. You'll start getting updates from us. You'll start hearing as this scale up starts to roll, you'll start to get outreach. You'll also get information from us on the pilot solicitations that we're doing with SSC, and you'll have access to feedback webinars. If you want to be a TECHNATION member, that's paid.
Right.
And there's all different sizes. And believe me, when you're small, you know, micro, if you're under 5, or if, I don't know if it's micro and then small under 5, micro, and then under 9, you know, 100. We sort of work out different things for members. So that's a membership discussion. Yeah, nothing that you don't have to pay for anything on the digital marketplace. Just the national partners that have paid a sponsorship to support it and advise us through an advisory council.
Okay. Another question from Marguerite is, do you include consulting services as well as technology?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You could definitely register your technology, sort like your, you know, services, your professional services on there for sure. Because in fact, the BC government marketplace, if you've ever seen it, that's what they actually built theirs on, was looking for more software developer type. And so they put challenges out looking for a solution. So yeah, there's no, it doesn't limit you on the marketplace at all, because we definitely think we'll see, you know, let's say a requirement for, you know, 1 or 2 individuals, and they can target that very easily to an underrepresented group for sure. Yeah, so don't hold back. If you're a services organization only, you can still register. And always, as if you run into, you know, this is where we're looking to from, you know, the industry as they register, if there's a category that just, you know, or the categories aren't sufficient enough, I guess, or there's a category you feel we're missing, by all means, please reach out. Really, really important.
Michelle, in your current, can you talk to me about the demographic you have right now in terms of industry sectors and or product services?
Yeah, so I would argue the bulk of them are health tech, and you know, and then so it started off with health tech, so a lot of health tech in there, but now we're starting to see traditional tech. So, you know, again, I went on to I've gone onto various websites, so we've got artificial intelligence, big data organizations. Then we even have the large ones. So then you'll see even an IBM, but IBM will be in there and they'll parse themselves into divisions. That's another thing too that you can do. We'll only represent you once as a company, but your divisions, if you know you need more room to explain what you do, you can still parse yourself into divisions. But when somebody goes to look for you, you know, you may come up as, you know, company X. You know, you do AI on this division, but then over here you do, you know, biotech or something. So that's another thing that you can do on there. And I think our demographics, yeah, like I'd like to get more, you know, I think this is where I look for the industry. You can go to one area and find, you know, this is the areas of specialization you should have. And you can go to another, you know, organization and they'd say, well, this is the, you know, areas of specialization. A lot of it really for me right now is from feedback that we're getting from our members and or the jurisdictions that are working with us, just to say, look at, you know, these are the typical areas we're looking for. And we're always having a hard time finding innovation in that area. So we look to add those areas of specialization and then find those individual companies. So I think from across Canada, I'm still hopeful we're going to continue to grow. You know, like I said, we started off mainly in Ontario. Of course, we're still mainly in Ontario because it's kind of where our focus had started, and much of the firms that that I would argue that do business with the federal government are local here, or, you know, have a headquarters here or in Toronto. But we're growing. I'm really happy to see how many more firms we now have in Montreal and how we're growing across the country. So I'll speak to French too, because I'll just be very transparent. We are working on the dashboard. We do have the actual marketplace itself, the landing page, etc., in French, but the dashboard is not fully in French, so we haven't released French. What you can do when it's going to be fully released, you can right now, you can go and translate the digital marketplace. So I can go onto it, press, you know, French, and it'll change over to the French version of the landing page and the registration. But the dashboard where you're really searching is not yet bilingual. So that's why we've pulled the dashboard French, because it's just not, it's not properly done yet. So that's in the works.
Okay, thanks. Michelle, is there an email address we can share with the attendees?
Yeah. Well, I mean, share mine. I don't mind, you know.
Okay.
Come to me, and you know, I think, yeah, so I'd love you to share that, and then technationportal.ca, share the deck, you know, for everyone, and from there, you know, if there's anything else, Christina, that you have in terms of, you know, asks from your members,
yeah,
to, you know, either dig deeper. Like I said, the innovation adoption program, when Christina or Bandana share that with you as members, the link in there does go to our the document on our iTax site. You can view it or you can download it as a PDF. Give you a little bit more. A lot of it's political speak, so that's why I didn't delve too deep into it. But I think what I was trying to really show there is, you know, how we're handling things at the political level, you know, the bureaucratic level,
right,
and, you know, and really showing. I believe that you're better off to show that it can be done than to write it down on paper. You know, I say this to Guylaine all the time. She likes to build you know, she built this thing called a manifesto, and I go, Guylaine, honestly, let's just do it and show them it can be done, and they will come, you know? So, and they are, you know, and I think that's really what, you know, having great leaders like Guylaine Carrière, who, you think I have passion, wait till you see her. It's just amazing. So, yeah.
I just want to be mindful of time. Michelle, would you mind sharing your next slide?
Yeah, it's, oh yeah, sorry, that's right. Apologies. I'm supposed to be doing that too. Thank you. And then on to the next. Yes, sorry.
Thank
you. Go ahead.
So thank you everyone who attended today. I really hope you found this a valuable session. I just want you to have information on our next Share the Knowledge event, which is on March 18th. It's from 2 to 4. It's a workshop that EY is producing on 7 drivers of growth. We have 2 speakers, and I'm really hoping you'll attend. Please look for the email to register in the next few days. Thank you again, Michelle, for your time and this wonderful presentation.
Oh, thank you very much. Again, thank you to Cassandra, Christina, yourself, and Bandana. It's been wonderful to be here, and I hope everyone stays well, and wish you all a very prosperous year ahead. We're due. All of us are due.
Well,
Thank you.
All right.